Good afternoon, everybody. It is Monday, June 12th, 2023 at 6 p.m. and I will call to order the Freetown Board of Selectmen meeting. This meeting will be recorded and will be available on the town's YouTube page. Today we are going into executive session and then coming back into open session. We are going into executive session for the following reason: Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A2, to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel, or to conduct collective bargaining sessions, or contract negotiations with non-union personnel. And this is related to the interim town administrator and executive assistant. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session.
Motion made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes.
Selectman Matthews?
Yes, we're now in executive sessions. We are now back in open session from executive session. Agenda item 2 is for executive session minutes from 6/5/2023. So I'll entertain a motion to approve but not release executive session minutes from 6/5/2023.
Motion made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No, we have open session minutes from 5/3/2023 and 6/5/2023. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the open session minutes from 5/3/2023 and 6/5/2023.
Motion made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, now agenda item 4 is the Proprietor's Way improvements. So I think we have a couple of folks here related to this. Steve Esposo, folks. So, we're gonna have to, we have a packed agenda tonight, so we're gonna have to keep this to, 15 minutes or so at tops, just to, set the stage there. But I guess, do you have a microphone there? So, and Nick, do you have one back there?
No. You want me to move up front?
Yeah, if you don't mind. And we do have counsel here to answer any kind of questions that pop up. And so just to set the stage here a little bit, so back on May 15th, we had a vote here where we voted to allow Nifolozo to make improvements to Proprietor's Way, which is like a paper road off of Chase Road. So since then, I know there's been some, sorry, I should back up, and that was approved pending, approval from the building commissioner, the highway surveyor, Chuck, and Chuck actually had some follow-up questions that he gave to us, and I know that there's been some disputes over kind of what the situation here is. So I just kind of want to give this opportunity to let everyone kind of speak their side of the story and figure out what the most, the best way we can move forward with this situation is. So I guess if you folks want to, start. I know, Nick, you had an opportunity last time to kind of state your understanding of the situation. So, do your best to keep it concise. Just we have a packed meeting tonight. So.
Well, we have been, my name's Donna Zatano.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you.
191 Chase Road. Me and my family, we've been residents here since 1985. We purchased our property in 1980. When we purchased our property, when the title search was done, we were like, what is this Proprietor's Way? Because this was new to us, and we asked and they explained, it was a 66-foot wide section, and it was something that you as an abutter had use of if you needed it, but we couldn't be used as frontage. And so we never did anything. We've lived along all of these years. And then this came before the Board of Selectmen to a motion for an improvement to a road, a paper road, a 14-foot wide gravel road. There is not a road there. So firstly is, how can you make an improvement on a road that is not in existence? If you were, as the board, were to take a walk along Proprietor's Way, you would see it has up and down terrain, has massive trees in the middle of it because it is not a road. So firstly, and most importantly, how can you improve upon something that is not in existence? When this came up, reached out and spoke with legal counsel and advised us that there is a town bylaw of 1988 that is indicative that an abutter of Proprietor's Way has the rights to the middle of Proprietor's Way. So that would mean we as abutters would have rights to up to 33 feet in there for our access. Again, not frontage, that it was clearly told it's not frontage. We've had meetings with Mr. Veloso and Kenny in regards to this situation because we had multiple questions and concerns. They walked it, and as I said, it's up and down terrain, and we were concerned, first, the size of the road. For one, it shouldn't be. You can't do an improvement. There isn't a road. That is really the bottom line here. What is it?
You have to make a road.
You would have to make a road. Okay. What is it?
You can't improve on something that's never been developed.
Exactly.
That's not the part that we have.
Right. So,
Can you just take your name for the record so we have it?
My name is Rick LaFleur.
Thank you.
That's our biggest problem is, I'm sorry, ma'am, but.
no, you go for
How can
it.
you improve on something that's never been developed? And every time it's tried to be developed, it's been turned down. I've been there for 23 years, probably 25 since I bought the land. And this is the third time I've had surveys in my backyard trying to develop that same road, and it's been shut down, right down to the tower. The tower's been shut down, right, same property. So it's undevelopable, and I can't understand how something that's never been developed can be improved upon. It's an oxymoron to me, and that's my opinion until I get my minutes. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I like to kick that over to council. Like, wait, is the term improvement, is that really like,
It's a twist of words.
but is that, I mean, because I know this whole kind of concept of a paper road where, these roads have been around, they might have been used for a long time, but they're kind of a legal structure there, Does it matter what the current condition is of the road when we talk about improvement?
So not necessarily, but we don't have. Sorry, good evening. My name's Robin Stein with KB Law. We're town council, and the board asked me to come tonight just to help maybe field some questions on this. But the bottom line is we don't have enough information at this point to really be able to opine what the next steps are, if at all, with the road, because we would need the type of documentation, title work, history to be able to understand the legal status and existence of the road before we can offer any recommendations about what could happen with it.
Okay, so yep.
And just to that point, we can provide some information from our council to council to help her with that process. And as for the way and the town way, my house abuts Sammy's Lane, our office abuts Sammy's Lane, it's no different. There's 5 houses now on Sammy's Lane that was same situation. The land belonged to the town. People decided they wanted to build houses. Went to the planning board, got approval for the road in, they built it, and it still remains private. It's and no different than Narrows Road and so on. We probably have at least 10 or 15 roads like this in town, where the people have built the houses, got building permits, because the land belonged to the town. The roadway easement belongs to the town. All of our deeds have clear title to a proprietor's way, and going back, nobody here, I guess, is probably, we had developed and planned on developing the whole north side of Proprietor's Way. We had started all the permitting processes. We went through everything, and then we get turned down by the town to put the project in that we wanted. But same case, we own the lots to Proprietor's Way. Proprietor's Way would have been our access. And when the state took the land, they took our lots only, and the town still has Proprietor's Way that feeds in the middle of this. So, but we can have our attorney go back and give you the history of Proprietor's Way and what's out there for deeds and how it's spelled out.
Okay.
Excuse me.
And through you, just also if the abutters have documentation they want to submit through you to us as well, that would be helpful. The bylaw, what have you. I prefer to see what everybody has. So
Yeah, that makes sense.
Can I just speak?
He was
Okay.
raising his hand first.
Wayne Tatano,
Yep.
on 91 Chase Road. He keeps on saying Proprietor's Way is owned by the town. Proprietor's Way is not owned by the town. In that 1988, the town gave it up to the people who abut Proprietor's Way.
I just want, can I ask a question? You have referred to that in your letter, and I went back and did as much research as I could find in the town. I can't find a bylaw that gives.
We tried to find it as well. Legal counsel told that, and legal counsel also advises that Mr. Resendes was given title a few years ago in regards to, I guess, the north side of Chase Road that they were talking about. And there was indication about the bylaw of 1988 in that paperwork. But we can't have him represent, it's a muddy.
Conflict of interest.
I don't know, so I can't, if you could provide that bylaw that you're referencing.
I've asked him to, but he's indicating that Mr. Resendes has a copy of it.
But there should be some public record of it, right? I mean, if the town
I
voted for a general
agree.
bylaw, I went through the bylaws, I
Is it possible the town meeting vote? Maybe we need to look at the old warrants.
warrant articles,
Yeah, there's
I mean, he
something.
must have found it somewhere, right?
Right,
So
there's
wherever he
something.
found it, he can
But
point us in the right direction.
he's in a situation where he can't really do much for us because he has helped us out, represented us, and he's also represented the Resendes. And therefore, there's conflict of interest. And so, as a result, we really can't get much more than that from him.
okay, well, if you can hire another attorney maybe, or do some.
Well, you
legwork.
know, this is the whole thing. We've been here all these years. We haven't needed an attorney, and we're going to end up investing all kinds of money for something that really, it's almost as, I mean, we just went through something with the planning board and whatever, and we just feel as there is no,
Let her finish, sir.
excuse me, that if this is not the standard procedure or whatever, and it might be something that it should be going before the planning board. And that's where, you know, I have an underlying concern is it's almost like there's some sort of circumvention that's occurring. And I just feel like planning board, I know they keep saying it's not a subdivision or whatever, but
So
this
it's
is
not
our
a sub,
son,
it's
so.
not a subdivision, and we're actually in charge of the road, so that's why they came to us. So that's what happened.
Got
So,
something to say about that.
all right, he was next, so we'll let him go, and then you can go, sir.
But our thing is, we've just gone through it. I'm in the process of doing a third driveway on my own property. And when I went to town hall, every single time, right down to the Snuggles Way was being developed. There's a process that we go through because there's checks and balances. We're avoiding all the checks and balances that you go through the planning board for. The planning board is designed for not wasting your time or our money. And that's what's happening. Because we're circumventing the system by saying we're improving something that's never been developed. It has to go through the planning board, it has to be drainage. You have municipal vehicles that are gonna be going up there, you have pedestrians, you have kids. You're gonna be liable for it? They have to put retention money on that road. They could start that road and never finish it. You're responsible for it.
So are you speaking about like the requirements that we for like a subdivision road, right?
Bylaws.
But this isn't
We're
but
putting bylaws.
I think that this is where it's kind of a little ambiguous, where it's not a subdivision road, right? He's building a single house, you know.
It's a public road. It's a
I know,
public road.
I get it, I get
You
it.
have to have a certain width. You have to have a turnaround, but the turnaround isn't even on that map. You're making a dead end out of something that isn't a dead end. You're saying he's gonna be able to turn around at that point. It doesn't show that on the map. It shows it going all the way through.
No, I hear you,
Now,
I hear you.
You got pedestrians, you got municipal vehicles. You're supposed to do actually a study through the state of traffic. How much traffic's gonna go through there? We're avoiding this whole process by not going by the planning board. And everybody gets huffy. You know what? I've gone through the planning board. We've all gone through the planning board. Because you know what the planning board is gonna say? They're not gonna say, go see Chuck. Because I know Chuck. We all know Chuck. Chuck's the highway manager. He isn't an engineer. He's not the developer. It's a road that's never been developed, and you're trying to say you're improving it by going around it. And I'm sorry.
Okay,
That's what
no,
we're doing.
I hear you. Yeah,
Matthew Zatano, 191 Chase Road. Exactly, it's not a subdivision, correct? That's what they want. They don't want a subdivision. But everything he just brought up, Sammy's Lane, Narrows Road, they're all subdivisions, so they're not the same. No one did that and go, I'm gonna build one house, because you told me there's one house on Narrows Road, it's not. He just said there's 5 on Sammy's Lane. So that's not for one house.
Yeah.
If he's doing it for one house, then how can he use that as a driveway? Where does he get frontage? He doesn't. So it has to be a
But
town
that's the
road.
part, right? That's where this gets tricky
Yes.
because
And that's how.
And on top of
One at
it,
a time, please.
and on top of it, that land is coded 1320, undevelopable. Not undeveloped, not non-developed, undevelopable. It can't be developed on the card.
I have my
That's a class code for that land.
I have my assessment codes right
So
here.
how can you say, okay, you can put a 14-foot wide gravel access road? Where do you get frontage on an access road? You don't. Where do you get frontage on a driveway? You don't. So,
And-
and it's the land that is undevelopable. So all those lots back there are the same. Every single one a lot, because there's no way to get there.
and just to kind of like boil us down to like I know you mentioned that no one's been able to build a road out there and do that, right? Is the real fear is that there will be a subdivision back there and that's what you don't want?
Once you expand it, I want to.
Is that what you're saying?
If you let one person in,
I'm just curious
Well,
of
if
like
you
to
let
get
one
down
person
to
in,
what we're really talking
there's
about.
2
here.
more lots back
One
there.
at a time, please.
You let one person and go, yeah, you can put a 14-foot wide gravel road. The person behind go, oh, I'll sell my land. Someone else can build a house. Then someone else can build a house. Or someone comes in and goes, you know what? We're going to put 20 houses. Because all the combined is over 100 acres back there between their land, the land in the middle, and the land in the back.
Okay, I just want to
Someone
be
mentioned
clear of what we're
opening
really
up
talking about.
Pandora's
Here.
box in the last meeting, and that is what you're doing.
Right there, buddy.
I have-
Yep.
Yep.
That's the one.
Jared's the town on Chase Road. I have a question. The Resendes Associates have owned this property for over 10 years.
21 years. Yep, since
They've tried to
2001.
do other stuff back there. Jimmy actually called my father around about 5 years ago. Wanted to know if he wanted to buy the land. Now, everybody knows the Resendes. They don't sell anything unless it's not worth anything. So, if it could have been developed 10, 15 years ago, he would have got back there and done it. He's trying to way around something that we don't know. You're all new to the Selectmen board. He did not try this with the older Selectmen. Nothing against anybody on the board, but I'm just putting it out there. I've lived there almost my whole life. My brother has lived there his whole life. There's never been any way that you could drive a car at all through there.
You couldn't drive anything.
You couldn't even ride a horse with a buggy through there.
Right.
Because there's trees, I've been to school for this stuff, there's trees out there that are over 35 years old. There's no way that there was ever anything driven through there. There's a pile of dirt at the end of what's called Proprietor's Way that's been there since before we moved there. Because somebody tried to get in there and somebody put a pile and blocked it. Because it's swamp from there to the corner. I don't know if anybody on the board has ever been in there, but you might want to take a walk through there.
You're welcome to.
You're welcome to.
Well, just not to.
Thank you.
And since we walked out with Chuck, the road has changed from where we walked Chuck on that path to now it's trees this big with arrows on them. We're out there painting trees, drilling rocks.
my question. Right.
How
How
is
can
that?
somebody come on our property and do that and not be notified?
We had to
Was it a
name
surveyor who
Buster
did
Lynn.
that?
It was a surveying company, and I'm sure who they came out for. Do we know who they came out for? Does anybody on the?
Well, I
board
mean,
know?
I don't have any information on that. I can't really speak to that. But okay.
Nobody's been notified, nothing. This was almost like a secret thing where if it got through, we didn't pick up on it, it was going through.
It was on our agenda, but there was no secret thing.
But we had the neighbor, the leeches.
We're talking about this.
She broke her leg going out there the other
find
day
out who
because
they
there was
were.
people on her property. She didn't know that was there.
I think surveys do have an ability to
They can't tell it.
to,
They don't-
to
they don't have to
trespass
tell
in a
anybody.
weird way. But regardless, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not making a legal opinion.
They can't trespass.
The path now that they call it Proprietor's Way,
Totally different.
Okay.
over 50% of that path is on my property.
Right.
Okay. So I hear you. Now this is, thanks for, I understand your perspective. I understand where you're coming from. I'd like to give Mr. Zennies and Defozo a chance to kind of respond to this. And
Can I
obviously
just-
there's a lot more information
can I
needs to
just-
become out.
If I could take a couple of minutes, because at the last meeting, there was a mention that they would need some verification, a clearance from fire police,
Yeah.
highway surveyor. Has any of that come to fruition? Because I know Chuck said directly that he is not the person who would be able to okay a road because he is not an engineer.
No, but we didn't want him to. We just wanted the okay from Chuck, the highway, and police on top of whatever else needs to be done through the books in order to make sure that they're okay with things. We always try to go to them because we just want to make sure
Right,
that
no, that's what I'm
fire can go in there.
asking, so-
Police can go in there. So it wasn't.
I understand.
It
That's
was
what
me
I'm
who
saying.
asked, and it was me who asked because I want to make sure that we give the professionals the common courtesy.
Well, they're supposed to be involved. They're
Exactly.
supposed to be
Right,
involved.
so that's why I brought it.
I mean, the
I'm
fire department is number one.
That's what we have to do.
Okay, all right, guys.
All right, guys.
We have a
Okay, so
huge
I just
agenda,
wanted to-
and I understand that.
Who legally owns the property? Is it this gentleman?
So we're trying to, we need to find that out, right? Through.
No, their problem.
Property.
He owns the property.
Oh, yes.
You own the
Then
property?
he can't.
So he can't speak for you. So that whole meeting last time?
No, he can
Excuse
speak.
me.
He was given a letter.
It was a letter.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
not right, letter.
From everybody.
Where is it? Is it notarized? Do we have it?
Anybody see?
We had, we
do have
did,
it.
we
We have a
have it.
letter from the company saying that
Yeah,
it's been
yes.
notarized, just like we have to do with an engineer.
Yep.
For this
Same
meeting
thing.
or for the last meeting?
For the last meeting. It was, yeah.
Just for this, we
Yeah,
got
sorry,
this letter that states
We notarize every time.
the company has given, I mean, this is,
But
I don't
did
know
he
if
have
this
it
is
for the last
jurisdiction,
meeting?
but
He had it for the last.
Fair run.
Yeah, we can.
Okay, so, guys.
I'm abiding by the same laws.
So I'm gonna give them, you guys had plenty of time to speak. Now I'm gonna give them opportunity to speak. Please don't interrupt them. And then, we obviously need to do more fact finding here and figure out where we stand. But please, can we just respect, give them an opportunity to speak?
Just for the record, the highway department has sent a letter to the Board of Selectmen, which was vetted with the fire chief to make sure that we had a hammerhead at the end to provide for any emergency vehicle to be driving up Proprietor's Way and turn around before they get into the property. He gave us a spec on how he wanted it attached to the letter that was sent to you guys. So we're all squared away with that. That's not a problem. Just to go back a little bit in history, Sammy's Lane was a subdivision for the last 3 lots. It was a by right for the duplex that was built first. And that was quite a ways up Sammy's Lane. They gave him frontage on Sammy's Lane. The duplex was built, and then for the last couple of years, he's gone in for a 3-lot subdivision off of that main piece. So that's just for the record. And as far as Proprietor's Ways goes, I offered it to the neighbors. I went to Mr. Zistano, I went to some of the other neighbors. Like he said, 5 years ago, asked them if they wanted to buy the property. At that point, I had no interest in going through a subdivision and a roadway on Proprietor's Way to try to get anything up on this property. There's probably 15 to 20 acres of upland on a, how many acres is it, 30? 22 acre piece. But it's not a place that I wanted to go put a subdivision. We looked at solar, we looked at other stuff, but it's not, we certainly wouldn't put solar in somebody's backyard. That's not what we do. I would never put, any type of tower or anything up there with the elementary school. So we chose to sell the property 5 years ago. We offered it to everybody around us, nobody wanted it. Nick decided he wanted to use it to build a house, and that's why we're here.
Okay.
Plain and simple, but we can have our attorney go back and present some information to your attorney and through your board, and give you the background of Proprietor's Way. We've been all through this for, I would say, 30 years. We started on the north side of the road working with Proprietor's Way. We surveyed the whole thing, every piece of property on the north side, all the way from the railroad tracks on Chase Road, all the way out to Bullock Road, the entire piece. So we got a lot of information on Proprietor's Way. Our attorney has even more.
Did they approve that you want to put a 14-foot road?
Yes,
They did.
The planning board?
that's
no problem. We're trying to avoid.
the highway department.
Okay.
So-
We just did a road in our private way, and the fire department sent us a letter saying 20 feet is the minimum that we could do it, as long as it stays a private way. If, at any reason, it goes into a public way, the road would have to be 30 feet and paved
Okay.
with drainage and sidewalks and underground utilities.
I hear you. Yep, I read that.
I can't see how they can say, because they want a vehicle, one way and the other, go by each other
Yeah.
without making any contact. And at 14 feet, there's no way.
I will say in Chuck's letter is 14 feet plus 3-foot shoulders plus a 3-to-1.
There's
So
no way you can get two
somebody
vehicles
had
by.
to
No way.
pass, they could.
Is there drainage?
150 feet,
Yep.
14-foot road.
Where's the water gonna go?
What about the wetlands? Yeah.
There's no way.
Okay, so I think that what,
There's a
you know,
I can say just one thing. Why aren't we going through the planning board like everybody else has to?
Because that's the thing is we've said we
Yes.
want the stuff to be able to go to the planning board. We
They
have,
know the zoning. There's mass laws. It ain't just town laws. There's mass laws. Like I said, you're gonna have pedestrians, kids on bikes. You're gonna have vehicles. You're gonna have UPS.
We don't want any of that.
but we,
There's no place to turn around.
so, yeah, I hear you. So, yeah,
It's silly.
so.
Make a private road out of a public way. That's what we're trying to do.
We're not gonna come to a conclusion. Sorry, Nick, do you have something?
Just real quick.
Yeah.
So as far as the planning board, they issue special permits, site plan review, and subdivision. Like I think you guys said, this doesn't really fall into any of those categories. The second thing is, I believe someone said we're trying to just slide this in and get it approved without. We've been very upfront with the neighbors, telling them every step of the way what we've been doing. I don't think we'd be here tonight if we didn't talk to them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're not trying to do anything illegal or anything like that.
Then go to the
No, I
planning
said,
board.
I said.
It's not, I think what the problem is here, it's not clearly a planning board issue. There's some ambiguity here,
Well,
right?
can I just say something? If you're going to build a road that is in non-conformity to what the road specs are for the town, then you do need a site review plan with the planning board. I'm sorry to
Okay. I hear
rebut
you.
that.
And so I think next steps here, I think that if all parties can provide any kind of documentation they have to our council, through, I guess through you.
Yeah.
Yep, so through Debbie.
What do we documentation of that has to go through the planning board?
Well, there's mention of this 1988 bylaw that we haven't seen yet, and
They say, when's the last time Freetown built a road without going into a subdivision?
We have the same thing. That's what we've already.
Never.
Sammy's Lane.
Yeah, how long ago was that?
When did you do that?
Wasn't that long ago?
10 years ago.
But is it private or is it public?
It's private.
It's private, exactly.
On public land?
On a public way.
No.
So who pays the taxes? Who pays?
okay, guys, once again, we gotta,
How does that work?
please, we gotta rein this in. We have a packed agenda. We're not gonna solve this problem today, right? We're not gonna solve this
So we'll get our
problem today.
documentation.
You're right.
Okay,
Can you
all right?
And I apologize, but.
Send it to Deb?
Yeah, through, you can, just to clarify, you want folks to submit anything they have to Deb and she'll.
And then I want to get an opinion from council on how we pursue this. We're not experts in dealing with these kind of nuanced situations, we're none of,
Is this the first time ever? Is this the first time ever? That's my question.
So since I've been on the board, I mean, in this particular situation, this is a unique situation, right? It's a unique situation. I don't have the answers right now.
We can't
Right?
just go around.
We're not gonna, yes.
So,
and that's exactly why we're here tonight, because we're trying to not go around.
But you just said
Guys,
you don't have any
one
answers
at
right
a
now,
time.
which
Yeah, but-
I understand. But why did you guys motion a vote
So,
last meeting and you didn't have all the answers?
so I know more information than I knew then,
Because you
right?
didn't have anybody
Right,
opposing it.
so-
But you still motioned
So,
a vote to
just-
approve without getting all your info.
Please, hear me, listen.
Okay.
So I'm gonna ask that no additional work is done on the property yet until we go through and get some additional information, right? Just to avoid any kind of future litigation. Someone's suing me, I'm not sure who yet, but it's gonna be one of you guys. So is that,
We want to cease and desist, yes. That's what we're looking for.
We have trees already.
We have-
We already have property marked,
Engineering
we have
started.
people going through our
Engineering
property.
started.
Um,
I believe the engineers have right by law. We're not gonna go, we won't physically go on it, although we have the right to pass on proprietors' way to get to our property, so.
Which makes sense. So, right, they do have, if it is a town, you know,
Okay, you're right about that, but we sat down with Nick, he was there, correct, Nick? And you asked, can we come on the property? What do we say? Just let us know. Correct? Isn't that what we agreed with?
Yes.
Why didn't you? Why didn't you?
Mr. Trevor, may I?
yeah, please.
I'm asking him.
We didn't know they were going out there. We gave the engineers, explained all of this. The way the engineering company was, it was someone else through their ownership. They didn't know they were going out there that day. You can look at
You
me.
understand where we're coming from.
I do, but I don't appreciate you guys-
My daughter,
Yeah.
who's in the house with my granddaughter, saying there's people walking in the woods.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get
Yeah.
it. But you know,
I'm just,
we're not going to also solve that. They're not going to solve that one today either. So you know, obviously, so I'm going to make a caveat here that the property can be accessed as it always has been through Proprietor's Way, right? But there's be no improvements done to that road yet until
No way to get in there.
There's no way to
No way to get in there. You have to go through Mrs. Satano's property.
We'll go through the swamp.
We can go.
which is owned by,
okay.
Right,
Regardless.
good point.
Okay.
well, by the abutters,
Proprietors' way.
30-30.
So the 1988 refers
We made
to
that.
Mass General Law. In 88, it was the abandonment, what I believe, which the
How
selectmen
do you
and.
know? How do you know it?
We have
Can
a
we
law.
please?
Yeah, please. We have one at a time. Like
So-
this
I don't
doesn't.
know how he knows it, because nobody else can find it, but he knows.
Listen. Maybe
All of a
he'll
sudden.
maybe he'll explain how he knows. Just we have to have one person talking at a
Okay.
time, or this whole thing gets out of control, and this is already out of control.
All right.
So I've been doing a lot of research on this for a while. And the abandonment of a road, which is Mass General Law 32, Section 32A, I believe, gives the town the process of how to abandon a way, which is registered mail, notifying the abutters and all of that. We have not found any record of that happening. I know there's a court case specifically from 1988 that mentions this, and it's the same process which has happened. We have not found that in town warrants that we've found or anything like that. I know they've only owned it for 20 years, I believe, 22 years, but there's been no record then.
Okay,
So-
perfect.
And if I can say, that's what basically a paper road is. A paper road is
An ancient way.
a proposed road by a developer that they never developed, and the town takes it over after 21 years. That's the law he's speaking about. Now it's 22 years. So the town took it over because the developer never developed it. And that's the key.
Okay, I hear you.
Yeah.
So this is what's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to have providing information that you think is relevant to Debbie through our attorney. You folks do that as well. I'm also going to have our internal folks pull any information they can get from our own records, right? We'll then provide that all to council, and then we'll get an opinion from council based on what the best steps forward here. I don't know of a better course of action right now. I'm gonna have people who are more familiar and who are objective make a decision
So basically, you're putting a stop to anything until.
on any improvements to the road for now.
Can you verify the improvements? We can have someone surveying out there?
Surveying is not improvements, right? Yeah.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
asking. I just want
Yeah,
clarification.
no, I think that's clear. All right.
If possible, notify them if they're coming on their property.
Registered mail went out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now it did.
So I basically what I think we're all looking for is,
Thank you.
let's go through the planning board. Let's do it right.
Well,
If we're gonna do
that
it,
might be
let's do
so.
it.
Well, look,
That might be.
That's what I'm just saying.
All right.
If we're gonna do it, let's do it right.
Can you just go into the planning board, because it's a different process,
Well,
right?
it depends, and it's gonna depend on whether it has to go, whether it may want to go. Those are all questions that we really can't answer until we look at all the documentation. Because there's a difference in how you build and permit a road if it's a public way that's never been built versus private land. We just need to know what it is, and then we can opine about it, and we can give you your options. I mean, if you wanna, just to your point, if you wanna clarify, it's up to you if you wanna take a vote or not, if you wanna stay maybe your prior authorization, just so there's no work under the authorization. Whatever, comfort level is with that as a board.
We won't do any improvements whatsoever. We'll do our survey work until we get town council's opinion.
I object to that though. You're still coming on our property that
But I think
we've already been out there. Why do you have to go out there again?
Well, right
How
now,
many times do you have to go out there? Do the same thing.
that's
Yeah.
I think there are laws generally that relate to surveys that I think are beyond
Yeah, that allows them to access.
But what I'm
property,
saying
right?
is, what I wanted to say, and it was mentioned earlier, the sort of path that was walked by Nick and his grandfather and Chuck and my husband is really not proprietor's way. That path is on our property. So if.
A reason to
if
have a
cer-
surveyor out there, right? Figure out where the.
Well,
where the-
no, I'm not saying it for that reason. Now, we know where our
You know
property
why?
is,
Because they went out there and they put a center
Okay,
line.
but that.
but I'm saying he was on our
I hear
property.
you. I think we have to move on for this now.
Yeah, but
More
he was on
information
our
come- I hear
property.
you. I can't do anything about that
Okay.
right now. All right.
Well, thank you for your time.
All right, I appreciate it. So I don't think we need a vote right now, and we'll just continue
Yeah,
on.
we won't, just, so it's just, survey is okay, we won't do anything else.
Yes,
That's
So that
fine.
includes painting trees or wetlands.
That's
or-
survey.
I think a survey, guys,
I mean, I really think that's.
one at a time, please, and I was speaking.
Rights are for law, they should consult with
Sir.
an attorney.
I'm just saying that they can put a mark on a tree if it's a surveying company or put a stake in the ground in order to mark and denote things, right? Like I would think,
His rocks, his property.
So.
I don't know what,
Okay, guys, so
That's why we don't want anybody. That's what we want to see.
we're concluded with this topic, and I'm moving on. All right, thank you.
guys.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, can
Should there be-
I ask one question off the agenda? I've been involved a little bit with the T, and it's not the T requirement, but it's the housing requirement of the units that has to be provided. When the time comes that you have a committee or a subcommittee of this, and I'm not sure whether you guys will do it or the planning board will do it. I'd like to participate in that to try to
Absolutely.
help out with what,
Yeah, absolutely.
what's being forced upon us.
Yeah.
Contact Victoria.
Victoria, yeah, 'cause she's already
So
been
we'll go
working.
through the planning board, probably the process.
We don't know exactly what that's going to look like yet, but we're going to have requirements for much potentially heavier density, and yeah, it's going to be
Painful.
well, yeah, and interesting because if they're talking about suing towns if you don't comply. So we have to be very careful of how we approach this.
Right. So I'm sure the selectmen at some point have to be involved in the process
Yes,
with the planning.
absolutely. We'll have to build create a subcommittee of some sort.
So yeah, that
But
Victoria's already come to us with presentations of different stuff.
Yeah,
and
I
how
have.
it-
we're moving on from this. This is
No,
not
I
a
just
new
wanted
topic.
to ask, should there be a vote saying to stop all improvements, just so it's on record?
I mean,
We all want to cease and desist.
it's,
I'm just asking,
yeah.
should there be a vote on it, or? we're
I
good?
think we're good.
All right, that's all I wanted to ask. Thank you.
No, all right. Thank you very much.
Send over the information, we'll take a look at it.
All right, appreciate it. And then this will be on a future agenda, obviously.
Thanks, everyone. Nice meeting you as well.
All right.
A lot of emails come back. Talk to you here.
You're here with the solar? Where is that on the agenda? So I'll all right, so I'm just gonna jump down, save you some time. All right, so we're gonna move down to agenda item 9.
You want to just slide that microphone over? Oh, she's got you. Look at that.
It'll work right from here. It'll be in front of you and it will be behind them. Right into a USB on yours, right next to it.
You plug it in, huh?
Yeah,
Interesting.
that
Okay.
just powers it. And in a perfect world, it'll turn blue.
Just try to pick a,
It'll be right in front of you. You'll see it there and they'll see it back there.
okay.
I love technology.
Great. So I have to hold the button down?
Right in the way.
As long as this is green, you're all set.
Okay. Great.
Watch it over there too a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know why it's not. Normally it pops up with it, but whatever. We'll be fine.
All right. Appreciate the time. My name's Dave.
Thank you.
Dave Bisson from Select Energy, and we are a solar developer based in Hopkinton, Mass. We've put together a couple of projects actually for one for the town and one for the school district that I can just highlight a few features of. Just a little bit about the company. Founded in 2009, based in Hopkinton. We work on non-residential projects, primarily rooftop, and have done projects with about 150 municipalities, 150 projects with about 80 municipalities through our program with Power Options, which is a consortium that helps municipalities and nonprofits procure energy, including solar and storage. So we are the consortium RFP winner that allows municipalities to procure directly from Select without doing individual project procurement. We do the whole life cycle from design and financing to installation, monitoring, and maintenance. We have a team that does operations and maintenance for over 650 projects in the Northeast. And wanted to share, so we are actually on the agenda for Wednesday, June 14th with the Regional School District's School Committee to talk about this project at Freetown Elementary School in more detail, but wanted to share it with the Selectmen tonight. As it, as proposed would be a power purchase agreement. The contract for that would be signed by the school committee, but it would involve a lease of town, property being in the building. So the lease would be signed by the selectmen. So wanted to bring that to your attention. But one thing to note about this is the roof is rather old, and one thing that we've been advocating for, and it was in the House version of the state budget, was a $100 million grant fund called Green School Works. It was
Debbie.
it was. We don't know whether it will end up in the final state budget. We'll have to, see how conference committee works through that in the next couple of weeks. But if it were to be funded, it would provide, money for roof replacements for public schools that are going to go solar. So this would be, potentially a candidate for that if funding is provided by the legislature. And the goal would be to get full funding for a roof.
Which is approximately $3 million, we guesstimate, to replace the roof.
At the elementary school?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, similar price tags for schools around the Commonwealth. So, $100 million is a nice, piece of funding, but it could also only, fund maybe 25 to 30, or so roofs. So we do consider this, if it is funded, to be a pretty competitive process. And one of the goals is to get the solar project to be as commercially ready as possible by the time, I'm speculating here, but by the time, the grant program were to open maybe later this fall, Freetown could show significant progress towards having a commercially ready system by having potentially applied for interconnection with the utility, as well as secured a state incentive through the SMART program. So those are the types of things we're going to be talking with the school committee about as well. But essentially, public entities are able to take those steps, apply for a SMART incentive award just with a simple letter of intent, and we will. One of the things maybe we could come out of this meeting with is, an authorization to have the town administrator, execute a letter of intent for that, project, assuming the school committee also, votes to have, their chair sign a letter of intent. That way, we can apply for that SMART incentive and get interconnection process started pretty quickly. So I'll put up this is kind of the outline of how our power purchase agreement works. A power purchase agreement is where, there is no upfront cost because Select Energy, our company, would be providing 100% of the capital investment for the solar project. The roof funding would have to come, separately from the grant or other sources, but primarily the grant is the target. Fixed kilowatt hour price. So all of the energy produced would be sold to the school at a fixed price for 20 years. In this case, we're going to talk about the canopy for the police station in a second. That would be 25 years. But Power Options would be an advisor, advocate, and facilitator of the transaction, be using a contract that they have vetted, kind of negotiated on the behalf of their members, which are municipalities, nonprofits. We would maintain and operate the system for the term. And again, Mass General Law 164, Section 137 is the law that allows this to be basically not procured as an individual project, but it fall under the Power Options Consortium competitive procurement that's already occurred. The financials summary here, the left side is if the project were to secure a Smart Block 7 award, which is slightly more advantageous for the school than Smart Block 8, which is a lower incentive. Just briefly, the SMART program was always designed as a declining block incentive program, so that projects that move relatively sooner can claim incentives in kind of a higher incentive rate block.
So it gets people moving.
Yeah, it incentivizes kind of early movers. So we started with block 1 in late 2018, I believe, and so it is a little bit.
How many blocks are there?
So initially there were 8. You're at EverSource, so we're still in block 7. National Grid's in block 10. They expanded it, but it did go down. So so the size. 564 kilowatts DC, which creates or produces, we estimate 643,000 kilowatt hours in the first year. The avoided electric cost is that third line. We are including the latest supply contract that the town is going to be entering in, I think, later this year. Plus the delivery charges. So this is, when you're using solar behind the meter, as this would be, you're avoiding all of the kilowatt hour base charges, including supply and delivery from the utility. So you'd be avoiding 16.35 cents per kilowatt hour that the solar array can create. And you'd only be paying 9.6 cents under the block 7.
So that's 16.35. So that's just like an average of what it's costing right now. But we're really taking that variable cost and making it a fixed cost going forward, so we can budget a lot easier for.
Right. So that is a fixed cost at 9.6 cents delivered energy.
I guess my biggest question is, if we can't get a grant to cover the school roof, it makes 0 sense. We're going to save $1 million, but we're going to spend $3 million.
Right.
To replace the roof, which we're going to have to eventually at some point anyways, but what's the damage that's going to be done to the roof with putting the solar array on the roof? I mean, there's going to have to be holes. There's going to be, at the end of the day, it'll at least be patchwork to it after the fact. So
I think they didn't you guys, your company, look at the roof a few years ago and determine that it wasn't in good enough shape to put solar on. So if we do not get a grant to replace the roof, this is not a viable project for the town. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the reasons, I want to bring it before this board and the school committee, because this is a big decision to make. Yeah. It's not something that I feel 100% comfortable making at this point. I think it's something, that's why I asked them to come and discuss it with you, and again with the school committee, because although I believe we control the building and we have the right to enter into a letter of intent, there are other concerns with the solar panels that obviously the school committee runs the school and they need to be on board 100%. And even I see the fire chief is here. He may want to comment on the effects of having solar on.
Yeah, I guess that was going to be more to your point, he's here. So I was like thinking, accessibility for fire through the roof and ventilating and stuff. And that's, through the chief, if you wouldn't mind answering. I'm sorry to put you on the spot.
Through the roof.
A great deal of ongoing regulation change actually with heat pump and solar arrays and fire prevention. Bureau now is trying to get basically walkways on especially in residential roofs, 3 feet, so we can actually get a roof ladder on them. So the roof mounted solar is not necessarily a good thing for for firefighters. And, you know, added the lightweight construction that we're using in roof trusses now, the added weight of solar arrays on top of that causes collapse a little premature than if they weren't there. So there are concerns of, as far as the, you know, commercial structures, they're built a little differently, and I can't speak a lot to this. I haven't seen plans and racks or anything else laid out. I mean, residential wise, it's definitely a concern for.
Never even thought about that. Makes sense. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can speak to just a couple of things that came up. You know, I just put the image back on. This is the preliminary layout. We do consider this to be sort of the maximum size design that the roof could potentially take, but you know, every solar project does need to have a structural engineer, an independent engineer's stamp on it, and it goes through your building department to gain permits. So it's a totally, you know, it's like really any other building project that has to have the appropriate permits. Structural engineering has to clear it. So in terms of, you know, access to the roof, you know, we are definitely mindful of the need to not just for fire, which is obviously there's certain codes and setbacks that apply there, but just for the building staff, the maintenance staff, to be able to access their you know, their rooftop units, the air conditioners and other, you know, things that are on the roof. They need to be able to get to those. So there are some alleyways. They look maybe narrow, but they're actually pretty wide. And it's a large roof. You know, but that stuff can be, if there's particular areas that seem, you know, too dense to the facility staff, we can always open it up a bit as well. It's always, you know, we're a guest on the roof at the end of the day. So it needs to work for everybody. I think Deb, you know, you pointed out the, we would only install on a new roof here. This is, you know, having seen the existing conditions. In terms of, you know, I think you maybe asked about potential damage to the roof. If this gets a brand new roof, we always work with the issuer of the roofing warranty, the manufacturer, to ensure that everything that we're doing is in alignment with their warranty terms. So we get a copy of the warranty first, and then we have to communicate with them about, you know, what requirements they have to make sure that it's continued, you know, for the full, you know, term of the warranty with no impact. So that's something we do. I mean, we've done, I think, over 700 systems, and most of them are rooftop. So we do this like every day. It's very common practice, and whether or not attachments are needed is site specific, depending on wind load and, you know, how much structural capacity the building has. But those are always, you know, totally waterproof and, you know, intended to last.
I wasn't worried as much about that as I was worried about that once it comes to an end, or you know, and you pull off,
right,
what damage is there on the roof. Now you might say that the roof, if it's replaced, it might only have a 20-year life cycle, and then it's going to be at its end of life anyways. I don't know.
Right.
You know, I'm not an expert in roofing, but I'm just thinking out loud. And if it's a roof that we have to replace and there's a 50-year life cycle, and you're off the roof in half the time, then we have, you know, X amount of years left. What damage has been done to the roof?
Right.
Are we going to compromise those years? So that's what I question.
Yeah, so and certainly in our power purchase agreement, you know, we are obligated to come take it off the roof at the end of the term and to make the roof, you know, watertight. So anything, you know, that needs to be done to kind of secure the usability of the roof would be done then. We maintain the roof, the system for that 20-year term. It is sometimes possible to extend it to a 25-year term initially if it's going to be a brand new roof. So it's something that we could look into on a project by project basis. And then there's always in the PPA term an option to kind of continue the PPA for a year, kind of on a yearly basis. So if you do feel like the roof is still in fine condition after 20 years or 25, you can keep it going without taking it off right away.
All right. So then if we, just in the interest of time, so if we move on to the police station kind of approach here.
Sure. Yeah, just to summarize this one, somewhere around $1 million in savings over 20 years, depending on if we're at block 7 or 8 and 5,900 CO2 tons avoided. So just a quick, solar canopies are becoming more common in Massachusetts, but just some of the quick features. They're utilizing space that is just for parking right now, providing shaded parking, which is great in the summertime. Results in less sort of maintenance to the parking lot over time from UV radiation, and really shows commitment to clean energy. They also have an adder under the SMART incentive, which helps support the PPA, costs being lower. So just as an example of a project we did with the Cape Cod Regional Transit Authority, we have a similar kind of structure to what we're proposing here. This is the initial design that we have come up with for the police station. It does have a canopy on the north side of the station as well as the west side. We had, just started with this, and I can show you the financials, and then we can kind of maybe hopefully leave some time for discussion about the design. This is similar to the elementary school. The block 7 is on the left. This is a smaller system than what you saw on the rooftop. It's 201.6 kilowatts DC, producing 226,000 kilowatt hours a year, which happens to be about 98% offset of what the police station uses annually, so very close to 100%. The PPA rate is 18 cents per kilowatt hour. The reason it's higher than what we looked at with the elementary school is these canopies, while they do have that adder, the additional incentive under SMART, they are much more expensive to build compared to a rooftop system, because there's a lot of structural steel and engineering that goes into.
That's just amortized throughout the life.
Yeah, so right, it has a kind of higher price per unit in terms of what it can produce, but this is a 25-year term, so if we're investing a lot in the structure, and there's makes more sense to let it be at least 25-year asset. Again, a 0% escalator, so the price is fixed 25 years. So real hedge against inflation and rates. And we're forecasting term savings, 25 years, $443,000 for the town, avoiding 2,500 tons of CO2 over the term. So I think that is it.
You met with Chief Abbott.
Yeah.
As I had predicted, because this is a brand new building, that he would be concerned about the aesthetics of it being out front.
Yeah, that would be my first question.
Yeah. So I
you're
know
gonna have,
that you met with him. Did any solutions come up?
Like, quickly, I think about the police officers out there in the snow. Solar to me, where they park now, that'd be a nice little canopy, prevent them from.
Yeah, no, we're worried more about the front side.
Oh, the front side, yeah.
Where
it's
they're
all
gonna
on
have, this expensive building that we're all sitting in, that's beautiful, state of the art, and we're gonna have it. There's the upside that it's the town being green, but then there's gonna be a lot of outcry from our residents that are not gonna be happy with us that we put this big ugly thing in front of our beautiful police station. And I know it's coming, right? I have no offense to you, because I know this is what you do, but it's the truth. It's what we'll hear.
Yeah, and I appreciate the feedback. I got the same thing from Chief Abbott. Actually, he was very gracious and took me on a tour around the whole site, and we did talk about other places that he thinks would be more appropriate or agreeable to the town, but that the right in front on the north side, that larger array that you're seeing, he didn't think that would be aesthetically acceptable to most people. So
Smart man.
Yeah. So, it sounds like that he's certainly, not the only one that would have concerns about that. I think I did, I'm not prepared to share any, final financial proposals on something else, but I did do some, rough, one thing on the west canopy. He didn't have any concerns about that part aesthetically. You can see it's actually one end of that, the northern end of that west canopy is where you have some EV charging kind of infrastructure there. So it would be a good combination to have a canopy there. Anyways, it would just that west one. It's right now it's 4 panels wide. I think it would be feasible to expand that to be 6 panels wide, so that it would extend farther to the west. I know there's I know the lay of the land there is it's a hill, but I think that would be that if we could extend to the west, I think it would get you to approximately the high 40% offset, so like a 48. Roughly percent of the police station's usage annually covered by that west canopy. If it would be 50% bigger than what you're seeing there, because we'd add 2 rows. So that's a guess of a preliminary, but we can come back with something like that. I don't know.
And there's no opportunity. I think I know the answer to this. I think someone told me, but to put them actually on the roof of this building, that's not.
So we've been back and forth. Originally, I was told no. But then I had a meeting with the engineers and the project manager, the OPM for this building, to go over some stuff with the building. And they said, absolutely, it was designed for solar.
Really?
The problem is, I guess, old school thought is you put a hole in the roof, eventually it's going to leak.
Yeah.
This is a brand new building with a 50-year roof. So I think the concern was, do we really want to start putting holes all over the roof where we know this has got a 47-year shelf life at this point? And so I thought, I had originally told them no. They had designed it originally, but I said, no, we can't put it on the roof because that was the information I had. And even after getting the updated information, I still thought it would be better to do canopies because it serves a double purpose, right? It gives you some coverage over the vehicles, and then it still gives you the savings for the.
I feel like I'm going to know the answer to this. Sorry to cut you off, Debbie, but the backside where the police park right now, so where the tower is over there, I'm assuming it's not feasible to put there because of the amount of sun that section sees.
That's mainly is that communications tower does cast a pretty significant shadow during a lot of the day on that section. It's also a much shorter span, so we wouldn't be able to put a lot in there.
I guess just I feel like I'm talking a lot tonight, but to Carlos's point was, if we could cover over vehicles, right? The police officers are going to be happy when they walk out there and there's less snow on the car they're about to get in and drive away with. So if that can help protect them, if it keeps them out of the rain a little bit. They're big boys and girls, but they'll appreciate it. And it's in the backside, and it's kind of out of the sight of the passerby. So I guess if that's somewhere we could look into possibly putting something, I think it would make more sense than up front.
Yeah, just a couple quick thoughts. In general, we keep the canopy has to be about 50 feet from a building. It's that's the typical code setback. So you only have the very southern part right next to the tower would probably qualify. And it's the shortest piece of part. You can see it's about 6 stalls wide, I think, 7 maybe.
So it might not be feasible, but
and
it might be a little something to add on if you have to take away the front. And
it would add, but the only thing is it would also add a lot of cost in terms of trenching across the parking lot underground, because these all have to be electrically connected to through the building or out to the transformer. So
EPA rate just goes up.
You're adding a lot of cost for not much.
Did you look at this building? I know it's solar ready.
Yeah.
Did you take a look at that? Because I think we've talked about doing a solar field and hooking in because we're solar ready. Does that make any sense to you?
Are we talking about rooftop for the police station, or?
I don't think. I just know that we're solar ready, so I thought there was something out there where we could just connect the solar.
Some conduit, some kind of like
Chief Abbott showed me that there is open conduit where you have the EV parking sign, which is on the west side. It's on the northwest corner of that side. Yeah, right. And so that, I don't know of any other conduit. I think the building may have been built solar ready for the roof, for rooftop solar. Is because this was before. What's that?
I'll try to find out more information about that.
Yeah, I did ask Chief Abbott if he could share digital civil engineering site electrical plan. So that would give us that information on where there's any underground conduit now.
And if the board wants Dave to pursue the rooftop panels for the building, he could do that.
Yeah.
I know that he did that originally, and I just said no. But like I said, that's something that I think the three of you need to discuss in
Personally,
detail.
I mean, I see a lot of brand new buildings are putting solar on the roof.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like they figured this problem like out. I get the kind of old school kind of mentality, but at the end of the day, if it's going to save us, $700,000-$800,000, whatever it could be, if we put enough over the term of the contract. I'm not sure exactly what it'd be, but say it's in $400,000. I think that's worth looking into. Right? Okay,
yeah. So we did a design. I don't have it on screen, but for the roof, and it's primarily that south facing where the police park, and the east west kind of. But the part facing north isn't going to work, right? Because it doesn't get enough sun. But just to respond to, I think. We do asphalt shingle roofs, all the time. Mm-hmm. Our mounting, is waterproof for the life of the system. We would be maintaining it, right, for 20 years because it's a PPA. So any issue, if there were one, I really don't think there's going to be, but we would be, very responsive on that. But yeah, that is the one thing we've talked about is this is designed. There are, I think, pockets of air underneath the roof where it was designed that way to be ultra efficient. Yep. Our team can kind of look at the plans and the as-built plans and just determine it will be more costly than maybe some standard roofs that don't have that, because you're basically having to attach through, use a longer attachment to get to a structural member than a normal roof. But it will still, I think, drop the PPA rate relative to just doing the west solar canopy, because roofs are relatively inexpensive to install on compared to the solar canopy.
I think anything's worth listening to, but I guess one of my biggest issues is we literally just asked the chief and he said that he's, solar, rooftop solar is a scary thing, right? As far as for them and accessing. So I understand this place, we got fire suppression, right? But sprinklers, I should say, right? So whatever, so that will help us. But I mean, once again, we just listened to him. So I'm almost hesitant to say, all right, let's put it on the roof. And then it's the aesthetics of it. Now, once again, I don't know what the aesthetics, at least you're saying it won't be on this side. It won't be in the side. So
I don't know if it's too much time. I could bring the design.
So yeah, I think we.
I said I was going to stop.
I think that just in the interest of time, because we've gone through 3 agenda items today, like a 25 agenda item. I think I'm comfortable moving forward with the letter of intent, for the elementary school, or at least calling a vote for that. And then, maybe we can schedule something else down the line to talk more about this police station, kind of, that gives you a little more time to get more information on the plans and see what our, actual savings could be. Right. Given the current situation.
Yeah, we could do a west side canopy only and then west side plus the roof.
That's what I was thinking,
Maybe
something of that nature.
yeah.
If you get to 60-70% savings, I think that's definitely a good idea.
Just for reference for everybody, I mean, the electric bills on this building run about $50,000 a year.
Yeah.
So just so you have some reference, it's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you go back a couple slides to the elementary school?
Yeah.
And the one thing about this is I just want to make sure, again, this is not a viable project if we're not going to get a grant.
But we can't get a grant unless we kind of do this letter of intent.
And just to fill in just one little detail is we're offering, if the school committee and the selectmen sign the letter of intent, we're going to spend some money out of pocket to apply for the SMART incentive, to do a full plan set, to do our interconnection application. We might even get interconnection by I can't promise, but Eversource has like 3 to 4 months to review these things. But by fall, you might actually have interconnection. None of those fees would be, we wouldn't be looking to recoup any of those if you don't get a roofing grant and can't move forward immediately. There's no risk financially.
That's an important thing to realize. And
And I want permission to just vet it through the town council to make sure that I'm not missing anything too.
Carl, you have one question?
Yeah, a couple. So, one, we get the letter of intent out, we get it, you move forward. So, when I look at solar, I always see your connections, right? Your boxes. Where are they going to go? They wouldn't go aesthetically pleasing, right? Where would you put them? Back of the building? As far as like connecting from solar into the building.
Yeah.
Where would that be going?
Right. So, the modules, obviously panels are on the roof. We have inverters, right? Those are going to be converting from DC, power to AC power. Those can go in a number of places. Sometimes they go on the roof. Sometimes they go on the exterior wall. And occasionally they go inside the electrical room, but only if there's a lot of extra space. So it really is site specific, but we would work with the school facilities manager to find something that's acceptable for them that optimizes cost as much as possible. I think the one thing that has to go on the outside of the building is what's called the AC disconnect, which is required for the fire department to turn off the array, or the line workers basically. I don't know who actually turns it off, but somebody has to be able to turn it off so that the line workers can work safely if there is a fire in the building, without having it producing energy at the same time. So that's by code, that has to be on the outside, but it could be in a less conspicuous place wherever. We would always develop a site plan before doing that, so everyone knows where it's going.
And we're just talking strictly photo cells, right? Cells, no batteries, no anything. Is that correct? Or is that batteries part of this?
No, this doesn't require a battery. So this is just, the proposed numbers here are just for solar photovoltaics only. A battery we don't think would improve the financials here, given the size.
So you were talking about, let's say, 0.96 cents per kilowatt. You'd have to ask this. What are you making off of it as far as the background? I know you sold back, right? Get energy credits back from Eversource, right? So I assume that's how it all works in the background.
No, so actually all of the electric value, so that's basically you're avoiding purchasing kilowatt hours from Eversource and through your competitive supplier. This project would be sized so that it would in some months, primarily like the spring and summer months, it would be generating more in that month than is consumed in the building. So it would generate some credits, but they would be reapplied to the school's bill, and that's how we've kind of worked our financials. Yeah, some of them would sit on the bill until the fall, and then be used up against, they might even be used up in the summer for other charges, demand charges that aren't really offset by the solar. But in terms of, we as the owner, Select Energy, would be receiving the SMART incentive, which is sort of like the cash portion of the incentive through the state SMART program, as well as all the federal tax credits.
Makes sense.
Yep. And we're charging the PPA rate, 9.6 cents. That's how our revenue streams.
Cost out, yeah.
Yep.
Which is way down, yeah. I know the CA we have is what, 15 cents right now? 15, 16 cents?
Yeah, the one we had. Right?
I think it's less than that. The one that we just signed was 12 cents, wasn't it?
Let's try to get on 10 cents.
The muni one.
And then it's going up too.
Well, electricity is only going up, so yeah,
That's true.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right. So, and I think the motion here will be letter of intent for the Smart Incentive Plan, to apply for the Smart Incentive Plan. Does that make sense?
Or to sign the letter of intent in conjunction with the school committee, I think.
Okay. Letter of intent for Select Solar.
For the rooftop array on the
All right.
Freetown Elementary School.
Yep. So I will entertain a motion to sign the letter of intent with Select Solar for the rooftops elementary school solar array. On there already.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
We'll
you
reach
very
out
much.
to you
All
with,
right.
some more details on the police station.
You're also working on the
Yeah, I am.
transfer station as well, right? Or
I can just summarize this transfer station really quick. Deb had asked us to look into that. I know about 10 years ago, I think the town, put out an RFP for it, but there's a couple issues. One is the way that I think a lot of solar projects in the town have happened are what's called front of the meter, where the solar array just produces energy for the grid. The developer is, earning the revenue from that. And then they're paying the town a lease payment typically. We don't think that the transfer project, for a number of reasons, but mostly because it's we estimated $375,000 just to bring 3-phase electric service to the transfer station, because it terminates about 3/4 of a mile down I forget what highway, but we mapped it out. The incentives are a lot lower than they were a few years ago for ground mounted solar. Even with landfill has an adder similar to the solar canopy, but not quite as much. So we looked at it, and we think it can only work financially as a behind the meter project, which is like this what we're proposing for the school and the police department, where the first place the energy goes is to the building or the meter on site. There is a very small meter at the transfer station, but it's like a house. Yeah. It's like a residential house usage. It's not very much. So basically what it would really do is reduce that very small bill to zero and then generate a lot of bill credits.
Yeah.
And the main issue is that we have an entire full PDF of all the bills I think the town pays, and I believe I had this on screen. I can't really put that on the screen, but it was about $46,000 after I think eliminating the police department bill, which now I realize we may not fully eliminate, but it's about $50,000 in unaddressed electric spend now. This system would produce closer to at like the maximum economic kind of scale, it would be about $215,000 a year of credit. So you don't really have a place to put them on bills. That is so it would either need to shrink by, I don't know, 4/5.
We don't have enough electric expenses right now to offset the credits that we produce.
That would be
cash payments.
I was going to say, but is there a way to just say that we forego the additional money if we're going to? I mean, because I would rather have it at the transfer station than anywhere else.
Yeah.
If we say we got X amount in bills, I don't know. I mean, it makes sense to me more than.
Would it be possible to give it back to the residents? If we generate $215,000 worth of credits and we spend 45, we have $100 and whatever $1,000. I'm not doing the math right now. Long day, right? That we can just give back to the residents. So instead of them paying 10 cents a kilowatt, now they're paying 4 cents a kilowatt. I'd rather do that.
So, a couple of things. One is because of the cost of doing the project with 3 phases, not the only thing, but the relatively low incentives, we can't really provide much of a savings compared to that bill credit value.
Yeah.
We can maybe a little bit, but the other thing, what you're describing, is typically known as like community solar, where there is a mechanism to basically ship all those credits in different, to different ratepayers, residential ratepayers, but it receives a very different incentive. What we would, if on the transfer station, if they're all going to the town of Freetown, we get what's called a public off-taker adder, which is much more lucrative than the community solar adder, which has been done all over the state and is in a very low block position right now. So the incentive is like very, very small. It also impacts how good of a rate we can offer, because instead of having a very creditworthy off-taker like the town of Freetown, we have residential off-takers who may come and go, or they're not like investment grade credit. So it prevents us from sort of justifying. It's more difficult from a project finance perspective, which affects the rates. Yeah,
that makes sense.
So there's a few things going on, but I mean, I wish I could say we had a solution. It's just right now until, maybe at some point in the future, there's different incentives or, things could change. But right now, our company doesn't feel that we could offer any real value, in a power purchase agreement for that.
And I just wanted you to address that because I get asked that all the time.
Yeah.
Why do we have solar on the transfer station? So I just want everybody to hear what I know now, that we don't have it because it's just, there's no feasible way to do it that we can actually, reap the benefits from it.
Right. That is it in a nutshell. Yeah.
All right, appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, now we're gonna go over and Reverend Dias.
Yes, sir.
Yep, please come forward. And if you don't mind, can we keep this to like 10, 15 minutes? All right, I got a lot of stuff to do tonight, not a lot of time.
We appreciate you allowing us to come.
Absolutely.
This is my first time being in front of you guys. So I used to come all the time.
Welcome.
Just want to thank you for allowing us to come. My name is, as you know, Reverend Curtis Davis. I'm the senior pastor and president of, thank you very much, Calvary Pentecost Church, and we're located on 33 Brearley Road. And we've been there ever since 1951, our church, and we used to call it the village in the Cape Verdean community. And the reason why we're in front of you today is that we have an opportunity to benefit the community. We're opening up a Calvary Cares drop-in center. Churches want to reach out. They came to me and said, Reverend, we have a grant. The grant's about for $50,000, and this grant has to be in a rural area in a minority community. So of course we checked off all the boxes there. But my background is in substance abuse. I worked in the prison and also with reintegration and many different things like that. So I've been working in substance abuse, helping people get off cocaine, crack, heroin, full-blown AIDS for maybe 40 years in this. So we worked on this strategy, and I think I gave you all the paperwork and everything, so you guys are very familiar. So we're proposing to open up the center from Monday to Friday from 10 to 2. And inside the center, I formulated it like Mass Rehab. Mass Rehab is a federal organization, and when you come into the center, somebody will greet you, first of all. Then after they greet you warmly, they ask you to have an intake process. A day counselor will come in, and we'll have sit down with you and say, what's your needs? Do you need a detox? Do you substance abuse? Are you learning about opiate use disorder? Or you might have a son or daughter that has different symptoms, but you don't understand what's going on. So, can we help you with that? Celebrate Recovery, 12-step program. But what I really like, overcoming depression, overcoming stress and self-care issues, but suicide prevention, that's what we want to deal with and stuff. So we thought it'd be a good fit for our community to help serve, the senior citizens, council age, and people that has problems in this situation. So we're going to plan to open up. We have a grand opening on Friday at 10 o'clock. If you're in the community, we will come down and be more happy to have you come on in. But really, we want to save people's lives. The fire chief and the police department, first responders does tremendous jobs. But as a clergy, sometimes I get called out 5 o'clock in the morning and says, Reverend, my son is not waking up. He's on a fishing boat or something, and we try to shake him and wake him up, but he's dead. And usually, most of the time, you hear a young man, 23 years of age, dies unexpectedly. And we see that all. And because of the stigma of substance abuse, people are ashamed to come. But because Calvary Pentecost Church is located, we always say Calvary Cares. So when we feed the senior citizens, council of aging, and all the people in our community, like we have done ever since the virus, we gave out $1.9 million worth of food. So, but people come all the time and they feel comfortable there, not only for church services. So we figured we could have this open up to them in this capacity. So we did this study, and also we're going to have STAR organization. They're going to be the clinicians, 2 clinicians, nurse practitioners. They're going to have there, and they're going to be teaching it according to evidence-based theory on substance abuse. So the reason I come just to say, introduce myself again and just say that we really want to help out the community. Ever since 1951 into now, we've been serving God and serving the community, and we thought it'd be a great opportunity. Instead of church only being open on Sundays or on Wednesdays, now we'll be able to utilize it. We don't have a state-of-art building like this, but everything's handicapped, first class, parking. I mean, the bathrooms are excellent, a great facility and everything up to the 21st century. We thought as a church we will benefit the whole community and hopefully be partnering up with the community so we can save people's lives and educate them at the same time. On my left, we have Mary Smith, and she would like to present out this.
Like he said, my name is Mary Smith. I'm the community engagement facilitator for the study that is currently funding Calvary Cares. And it's called the Healing Community Study, and it's funded by NIDA, which is the National Institute for Drug Addiction. So basically, they gave this money to support the study to BMC. So I work out of BMC, Boston Medical Center, and we're helping 16 communities. And so I work with Berkeley, Dighton, and Freetown. And I kind of just wanted to say why the community needs this. There are no really substance use disorder services within your guys' community and the surrounding communities within like a 25-mile radius. So it's like something that's necessary, and that's something that's most certainly lacking. And also, coming in rural communities, often people think like this isn't happening within our community because most of the time you see them more urban communities. But data shows, and I'm more than happy to provide this to you guys if you have more questions afterwards, but your community members are on MOUD, which is medication for opioid use disorders. So like statistics show that there are people in your community using. So there is a need for this. Like I said, we are funding Reverend Diaz's Calvary Cares at the moment. However, the study does come to an end, and the study ends December 31st. So that's when our funding will be discontinued. So this funding that he's requesting is integral to sustainability and remaining within your guys' community. And
that's good news. And we're trying to think ahead with sustainability. I went to the Board of Health with Kevin Damaris and all them, and they have the settlement money, as you know, with for oxycodone. I think it's Johnson & Johnson.
Yeah.
So Thursday I'll be presenting out to them, and potentially I gave them all the study. I met with them 2 or 3 times. They were very interested. Now they got a new board that they're going to meet for the first time on Thursday. Mm-hmm. So we're going to present out, and we're hoping that I don't know exactly how much money they have, but it's my understanding about $80,000 for the first round. They might have some other accounts that they haven't educated me on. So we were hoping that we would engage them to consider giving us the $80,000 so we can even do even greater work in our community. So, and they seem like they're very interested. We gave a study, we gave the calendar, we gave time to operations and what we're going to do. And I think we know we meet the criteria and the elements of that. And so, and we want to take away the stigma of, substance abuse and opiate abuse. And not only with the young people that we would think would have this problem, but senior citizens have a lot of problems. And as you know, the veterans come to me every Thursday as we feed people, senior citizens, council agents, single mothers, veterans. So we have a great relationship with the veterans. And part of our center also, we didn't tell you, is one-on-one counseling. So if you want one-on-one counseling, you can have or we have group counseling also. If you don't have Mass Health, we're able to have nurse practitioners come and sign you up for Mass Health. So that's very important, So we have self-care, that I think is good. How to overcome overcome stress and anxiety. I think that's good. And lastly, I said it before, but what is the signs? My daughter, my son's, acting strange. You know what I mean? I don't understand whether they're losing weight, and they're missing their jobs. And so a lot of families don't understand the signs, and they can come right to the door and they can ask them, we have this checklist, how can we help you? Then after they come in, we sit them down, do an intake with them, then we give them a calendar, then we invite them back to come back anytime that you want. And we're going to deal with mass rehab, mass hire, we're going to be dealing with in that capacity. But the people that's addicted, we're not allowing them to be like a drop-in center where they stay there. If they are high and they're struggling in that capacity, what we're going to do immediately, we're going to refer them to a detox center.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be to a high point or something similar. They're not going to linger in the community at the door or anything like that. So we're an educational center that hopefully can educate people in our community and meet the needs of this. People are suffering in silence and they're ashamed to bring it out. So basically, that's the crux of it.
I'm going to have to look into. As of this fiscal year, we only got $15,000 in opioid settlement money. It's very particular of what we can use it for. So I need to go back and review that. The money is going to get. It is in the general fund, and we have to pass a couple of town bylaws to actually move that money so that we can use it for opioid related stuff. We have to move it when it's free cash, which won't be certified until probably September or October. So I had planned on doing that in the October town meeting. So there's some logistics that I need to look at and be able to give the selectmen that information for them to be able to make any kind of determination. And that wasn't on our agenda to vote that tonight, just so you're aware.
Yeah. But I think it makes sense. So, I mean, going forward, like that's, having these kind of programs that we can utilize that money for. This is exactly what I think the intent is of that program. I think we're all on the same page here, and
And we have 205 days, so we're not really concerned about that. And the church has put thousands and thousands of dollars of in-kind services already, not only financially, but also in-kind services, so we could have a center that is proud of all Freetown could use, and so many people can come on by and do it too. So.
Now, Reverend, you said community a lot, right? Have you spoken to your neighbors around there?
Yeah.
Are they all on board? Like obviously something like this comes up, right? People might in principle say great, but in the back of their heads they might have that little inkling of, what if, right? What if you're bringing danger to the community, or what if there's drugs being brought in? So I'm hoping you've reached out to your, not just your congregation, but the people that live around you as well.
Yeah, as you know, my background, I reach out to all the community, and as a matter of fact, we help save the community, and I network with them in many capacities, not only in this area, because they might have sons and daughters or husbands and wives that has these problems, but we have had no negative report whatsoever. Everything has been positive and welcoming in the community at large. And as a church, the church always takes care of that community. So we haven't had anything. Matter of fact, we had nothing but positive review. And on Friday, we've been inviting everybody to come and to see and to hear. And it's going to be excellent because we got state representatives going to be here. Then also the hospital from Boston representatives are here. So everything is really high in all the education aspect of it. But
that sounds great. And I'm glad you spoke with Kevin Demiras and the Board of Health, and that's so there for their awareness. Have you spoken to the police and fire?
Yes,
Okay.
actually, I not only had a meeting with Chief Abbott, but as he leads, Officer Scott Rose, we had a wonderful conversation with him. I hadn't had a chance to talk to the fire chief. I left information for them. But as you know, at Calvary, we always have community outreaches. We always had the first responders, the police chief. Also, I just signed a paper that we're going to be Narcan distributors. That means that I'll be able to help distribute, to help people. And if the police department, first responders, or anybody needs that, then I'll be able to order maybe 400, whatever we need for the community, and we can give it out for free. And I put a box in back of the church where people can just reach out, because some people are so shy and embarrassed about it, they can actually get it for themselves. You know what I mean? So we did our due diligence in the aspect, and what we feel, especially for the church aspect, you know, because we're 501c, we want to make sure that this is part of the mission. You know, not only feed and clothe, but we've been doing Celebrate Recovery for 15, 16 years within, you know, confinement and counseling. We do that on a daily basis.
Well, you know, you got to protect the community. You also got to look at protecting yourself as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which brings me to my next question. So I'm assuming you're using things like Suboxone, methadone to help, you know, bring down someone that's on, you know,
Want me to answer that?
an episode of sorts. So my question comes down to security of the medication while they're 10 to 2, Monday through Friday. You know, when someone's in that stage, right, as a former counselor myself, I'm well aware of, you know, that whole scenario, right? So I think of the people there, you know, you say nurse practitioners, congregationers, yourselves. I want to make sure you're safe, right? You have plans in place to protect that area?
Yeah, so the Calvary Cares won't have that medication on hand. They'll more or less provide a linkage to that through telehealth and through bridge clinics through STAR. So we won't have like buprenorphine and Suboxone and
just Narcan is all.
Narcan will be distributed, like he said, with his CMPP. And then regarding the police department, we've been working with Freetown, and the study has a bunch of strategies throughout Berkeley, Dayton, and Freetown, and Freetown Police Department has been working on this with another one, so they're fully aware of kind of what's going on. So yeah, they won't have those medications there.
That makes me happy because you know, people get med seeking at times, and then when you're in that med seeking role, you probably not the nicest person that day, right? Or those set of days. And I don't want to put any additional pressure or even violence in your area for that area. Not again, that's one of the stigmas, right? You automatically assume one with the other, but in fact, it's not really the case, right? It really is a mental health thing at the end of the day. So you know, I'm happy that you're moving forward with this, right? Sounds like your heart's in a good place, and you know.
In our strategy also, we just don't want to be emotional about it. We want to be professional about it. When it talks about, and I know time's elapses, so we're close, but it comes to a point where when methadone clinics are federal, as you know, in Fall River and New Bedford. If somebody was on methadone and they wanted to step down, they call it, you know, they have nurse practitioners that can talk to them, telehealth community, and what they usually try to do, methadone, the Suboxone, and so then they work it that way. But what we would do, if somebody was sick and stuff in that manner, we would refer them to a detox center. Then after your 30 days, come see us. Now we can educate you. Now we can help you. You know what I mean? Now we can strategize with you in that capacity. You know what I mean? Because there's somebody's sons and daughters, and they're in our community. And instead of not addressing it, well, then, because this is also, you might want to, I'll leave you this thought. What we're doing at Calvary Care Center is a public safety and a public health aspect in two capacities. By us doing this, these guys will have to go, you know, make sure they're taken care of. They won't snatch persons. They won't do B&Es. They won't steal things like that. In our feeding program, also the same thing, public safety. Hey, if you give people food and all that, the risk of people stealing, the risk of violence. So our mission at the church is the holistic view of everybody, you know what I mean? And so that's why we're doing it, because we're hoping that somebody like us, somebody's sons can get help and be delivered for public safety and public health also.
All right, it's awesome. We really appreciate your time and very excited about this. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. And if you're around the community, stop on in, all right?
Absolutely.
Thank you
Appreciate
very much.
your time.
God bless you.
Thank you, guys.
All right. So now, surplus items. All right, so we have attachment A. This is agenda item 5. So we have two, I guess I'll state what they are and what we're gonna do with them, we're suggesting. 2 Dell monitors, 22 inches from the highway department, destroy and recycle. 2 Dell keyboards, highway department, destroy and recycle. 2 Dell towers, destroy and recycle. 1 HP DeskJet printer, destroy. And then a 2016 Dodge Charger. Dispose of a Class 3 licensed facility or use as trade-in to offset the cost of future lease. Is this is a police cruiser?
Yeah.
Sounds like the new Selectmen vehicle. From meetings.
And then a drafting table from the assessor's office. And this is to see if any other department wants it. If not, sell it as personal property for $1. Anyone have any issues with this?
Zero. The only question I would have is how would we know with the police cruiser what makes the most sense to be able to, what it would be for a trade-in or what we won't know. So I guess it's, right, we don't, if we're gonna trade it in, we don't know what we're gonna get for it on a trade-in yet, right? Or if we put it up to auction. So we're kind of guessing, we're gambling as to which direction to go in, right? So that's the only scary part. Obviously, everything else is.
It's like easier to trade it in though, isn't it? I don't know if we got, I don't know if we're
That
getting more money
vehicle's
for
probably
it.
got, how many, you know how many miles are on there, any chance?
which one it is. No, it's probably
I can tell you the VIN number, would that help you?
between 80 and 100,000, if not more.
Trading would probably be the way to go then. Even though it's a stripped down, there's not really much stuff in there, right? Unless you love those kind of seats in the back, you know. So, yeah, I go with whatever the highest gross is at the end of the day.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
Right.
We don't know. So
Trading it, if you
so
scrap it,
I guess I
$500
go
for it.
back to, we don't know. So what would be the easiest thing to do? Whatever's the easiest thing to do is, then that's the direction we should push it in because we don't need to create additional work for anyone, right? I
think an
feel like
auction,
Luann's
right?
over there passing around. So.
Didn't we have an auction not too long ago? There was a bunch of stuff from like stuff that was in lockup, right?
Yeah.
Since we already have a mechanism in place, I think that would probably be it was near a website, right? You could throw the vehicle on.
Bid or something we used.
Bid, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this vehicle was, had high mileage. They used it for parts for a number of years, so like it's been kind of, pulled apart a little bit, so.
So
it's
whatever
not-
we need to do with it.
Yeah.
It's not a
Okay,
high value.
let's auction it then.
Yeah.
You know, you wanna auction it? That's
I don't know.
fine.
Unless you, will they take it as a trade-in?
I don't know. I think the chief wanted to have the option to do either or.
Well, how about we just give him the option, whatever the chief thinks is best. That's what I think.
Yeah, I agree.
I
All
think
right,
that's
easy
fine.
peasy. Okay, so with that, I'll entertain a motion to declare all the items listed in attachment A as surplus and to have them, the suggested treatment of each items, giving the chief the option to either trade in or auction off the police cruiser.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
He wants to be able to take it to the scrapyard, I think.
watch it crush it.
I don't care what he does with it. Yeah, I don't think.
Okay.
So I guess the only thing is, would that be part of that motion?
Yeah,
Are we going
that's
to
what
limit
the
him?
last three-
Yeah, unless we looking at the whole car right now, does it still have an engine, transmission, tires,
Yeah,
suspension? I have no idea.
Yeah.
So he knows. I'm sure he knows better than we do.
Okay. Attachment B.
Be fine, we can auction it.
Okay. Sorry.
Don't be sorry, it's been a long day.
It's been a very long day for me. It's been about 10 hours of meetings today, so maybe more than that. 15 hours of meetings. Okay, so we have some items that were donated to the Freetown Police K-9 unit on behalf of the Freetown K-9 Police K-9 Foundation. So this is some K-9 nutritional items, crew-proof crate, so just some nice stuff, mesh cover, annual membership for the North American Police Dog Work Association, which is a value of $100, and kennel fees, various days amount of $500. And so, this is just for us to accept these very kind donations. Any objections to accepting the donations?
No.
All right. I'll entertain a motion to accept the donations to the K-9 program detailed in attachment B.
Motion made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And we appreciate the donations.
Yes.
You can, if you want to skip 7 and 8, we can discuss it another night. There's just a grant right now for the EV chargers.
Yeah, it's already 8:11.
Yeah.
Let's just put that on the next agenda, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I'll move it.
All right, so we're gonna move on 7 and 8. We already did 9. Now we have an amended agreement for the with GBI for the crosswalk.
Yeah, this just updates the
Cost more?
contract. Yeah, because they did the bidding and the procurement piece of this.
So it went from, it increased like $1,000,
Oh, I think
Or
it
less than
actually went
that.
up like 6,000.
6,000, okay.
See the middle number there?
Amendment number 1.
Yeah,
Oh, so yeah, it went up 6,200.
Oh, wow, so the agreement was $7,800,
yeah,
it's an additional $6,400.
yeah.
You know, I can't pull it. My screen just went dark. Why did they go up?
They did the bid docs and the procurement for the crosswalk. So it's pretty standard what they charge to do that piece of the work.
All right, doesn't seem like there's much we can do about it, right?
Well, we're hopeful that.
We'll get a grant for this?
The grant is,
That's what I
we've already
figured.
got the grant. We're hopeful that the bids will come in and there'll be money to absorb this. If not, I have the money within the administration budget for technical assistance for grants, so I'll use the funds out of that. Chuck has also said that he would pay Chapter 90 money if need be.
Awesome. All right, great. So with,
A lot better, yeah.
yeah, with that, I'll entertain a motion to approve the sign the amendment agreement with GBI for the crosswalk.
Motion made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So Vadar Systems is the next agenda item, and this is to approve the agreement.
Yeah, this is just our renewal of our complete accounting system, so
Yep,
we need Vadar.
need it. And how long's the term? Sorry, so it's from 7/1/2023 through 6/30/2026. Any questions or concerns?
No.
The annual totals is about 19,000. All right. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the agreement between the town of Freetown and Vadar Systems Inc. for 7/1/2023 through 6/30/2026.
Motion made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And this is just have Debbie, oh no, this is a different one, sorry. Vertical Phone Systems.
So Vertical is our current phone system at the town hall. We pay a monthly fee for them to maintain our phone system. They would like to come into, and I think the original plan was that they would do the entire town, meaning the COA, the fire station, libraries. Somehow they bought the phones for that, but never actually implemented it. So they want, and they've come in with a fairly low price to do the rest of the town. However, I haven't had time to really vet this and what it means to the town. So this will give me permission to sign, to extend the contract for the town hall, but also to look into the other departments and if it makes sense for us financially to switch to vertical phones. I know the COA has Comcast phones. I want to say the police station does too. And I don't know what the fire station has. I have to look at it. Is it Comcast? It's Comcast. So this may be an opportunity for save time, save money, but I need to vet it a little bit further and what does it mean and how complicated is it? And sometimes there's a trade-off, right?
Okay.
So, but it will be for me to at least sign the contract for the existing town hall.
All right, sounds good to me. So I'll entertain a motion to have the interim town administrator negotiate and sign documents regarding adding vertical phone systems to town-owned buildings.
Motion made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And then, sorry, I can do those out of order.
I think 13 was.
I can do 13 too, though. So this is same, it's all related. So
Same thing, yeah.
entertain a motion to approve the renewal proposal for vertical phone systems at Town Hall.
Motion made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
This is statement of work between the town of Freetown and Civics Ready for annual notification, mass notification annual fee.
This is our Freetown Flash.
That's what I figured out. Well, we like the Freetown Flash. How much is the annual fee? Just out of curiosity for the public.
4,000.
4,000, that's what I thought I saw too.
4,000.
4,986. All right. It's an expensive Freetown Flash, but that's what it costs.
We definitely approve that, but we should also, in a future meeting, put on the agenda to discuss how we use Freetown Flash. I think there's some tightening of the belt a little bit as far as what we can and can't put on that.
Okay.
That we're using it for the purposes it was intended for.
All right. I'm interested in that. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to approve the statement of work between the town of Freetown and Civic Ready for mass notifications annual fee.
Motion made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Now we have $200,000 of Bristol County ARPA funds for the municipal fiber project.
Yeah, so even entertaining, connecting all of the town buildings with fiber. I've met with fire chief, police chief regarding this. Means, all our buildings would connect, and we would only need one internet service, and it would service the entire town. Currently, we pay $2,600 a month for internet throughout all the different buildings. So this would actually save us money. I applied for a grant for municipal fiber. It's going to cost about $500,000 to connect the buildings. Actually, maybe a little bit more, $550,000 to connect all of the town buildings by fiber. It'd be lightning fast. And, I think it would be a benefit to the town. I know we're having some speed issues with some of the stuff going on with the fire station that we're working on, and we ultimately need to go fiber for that. And I've applied for the grant. I feel confident I'm going to get the grant in the amount of $375,000.
Nice.
So this opera money can be used for, broadband and connection. So this is a request to ask the selectmen to appropriate $200,000 of the Bristol County opera funds to match that grant.
Is that how it works? It's a grant match.
No, we don't need to match the grant. It's just that
Just
in order to
offset
do it, it's about $500,000. And I applied for I actually applied for $599,000. They reached out to me and said, would you still do the project if we only give you $375,000? So I said, yeah, I believe we could do it through our opera funds. So that's why I'm saying it's going to match that grant. Without the $200,000, I would have to scale back, and I don't know that I could get all of the buildings in that, because we're pretty spread out.
Yeah.
When you look at police,
Geographically,
town
for
hall,
sure.
transfer station, libraries, we're all over the place.
Literally all a no-brainer in my eyes. The only question I have is, there's a difference of about 175. So any additional money, would that just go back into it, and we could use it for an additional cause if we found something else to deem it towards? Right, we wouldn't say 200,000 because you're just asking for us to release that.
I'm asking you to approve that, and then I'm
Approve
going
that
to vet it a
amount
little bit
forward,
further. And obviously, so because the APRA money is a process, right? You guys approve it, then I got to go to APRA and to Bristol County. I have to ask for the money, and then it takes them a couple months to approve my applications, and then they forward the money. But everything has to be, everything will be audited. All of the opera funds are going to be audited. So everything I do with opera is, I have to document and do everything. So I don't know. It may be that I only request 175 if in fact I get the grant. If I don't get the grant, I may come back to you and say, I didn't use this money that you appropriated. Let's reappropriate it for something else. Right? Like, I don't have it.
It's literally a no-brainer. I guess I kind of knew the answer of what you were going to say there, but I just wanted to ask it because I felt like I would be wrong if I didn't. So thank you.
Perfect. All right. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to approve the use of $200,000 in Bristol County ARPA funds for the municipal fiber project.
Motion made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. We already did 16, so I'm going to kick it over to personnel.
All right, here we go. Item agenda number 17, discussion and vote whether to approve the agreement between the town of Freetown and Scott Rose effective 7/1/2023 through 6/30/2025. I'm sure you've all read the agreement.
Yep.
Sergeant or Chief Rose to be has signed and agreed to and ready to roll when he comes back from vacation.
Awesome.
All right, I entertain the motion to approve the agreement between the town of Freetown and Scott Rose effective 7/1/2023 through 6/30/2025.
Make that motion.
I will second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, this is follow on to that number 17. Number 18 is to vote to appoint Sergeant Rose effective 7/1/2023 through 6/30/2024. Actually, that's a typo. 6/30/2025. So it would read as vote to appoint Sergeant Rose effective 7/1/2023 through 6/30/20.
Hold on a second. Is it?
Yeah, we appoint through the end of the fiscal year, because then he'll be reappointed next year, even though his
I stand
contract is for
corrected.
2 years.
That makes
Yeah.
sense. So
All right.
I can see how you made that mistake, because I would have made the same exact one.
It's-
So I was like, wait a minute, these aren't off.
It is
All right.
confusing, but.
Typos on me. All right, so the appointment for Sergeant Scott Rose will be for areas A to G. A, police chief. B, constable for service of town processes only. C, safety committee. D, health insurance advisory committee. E, keeper of the lockup. F, local emergency planning committee. And G, public records access officer, police department. Any questions, concerns?
No, I just like the term keeper of the
I
lockup.
was thinking the same thing. I entertain a motion to appoint Sergeant Scott Rose effective 7/1/2023 through 6/30/2024 for the items covered in sections A through G of item agenda 18.
I'll make that motion.
I will second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
I wish he was here to say congratulations.
No, he's on a beach somewhere, I'm sure.
I don't feel bad.
He's in a much better place.
Yeah, okay.
Next meeting.
Next meeting. So, item agenda number 19, discussion and vote to approve the following appointments. There's a lot of them, so I'm going to read them all. A, Sergeant Benjamin A. Levesque to Lieutenant, effective 7/1/2023 through 6/30/2024. We're skipping over to B, going right to C. Patrolman Thomas D. Long as Police Department Sergeant, effective 7/1/2023 through 6/30/2024. D, Nicholas J. Drinkwine as Police Department Sergeant, effective 7/2/2023 through 6/30/2024. E, Patrolman Kalen A. Joes as Police Department Sergeant, effective 8/2/2023 through 6/30/2024. F, Dina Hayes as Payroll Coordinator, effective 7/1/2023 through 6/30/2024. G, Brenda Motto to Council on Aging, Library Committee, Building Subcommittee, alternate, effective 6/12/2023 through 6/30/2023. And H, Alyssa Travers as full-time signal operator, effective 7/5/2023 through 6/30/2024. I entertain the motion to approve all on item agenda number 19, except for B, Stephen E. Abbott.
I'll make that motion.
I will second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
And while we do have Officer Drinkwine or Sergeant to be Drinkwine, I'd like to say congratulations for your promotion, and also congratulations to you and your family, especially your son, for winning the Miners Championship this past weekend. Congrats, go Storm! So, congrats.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
It's a big trophy they received. So, all right. Item agenda 20. Vote pay rate for the following, effective 7/1/2023. A, call fighters as laid out in attachment D. B, electrical, gas, and plumbing inspectors for $50 per inspection. And C, emergency management director to $6,274.37 annual stipend. Any concerns? I think we had plenty of paperwork that was submitted to us as to why this is a great idea.
Works for me.
All right. That said, I vote to entertain. I entertain the motion to. Wow. I just lost it. Sorry, long day. I entertain the motion to approve A through C of item agenda 20.
I'll make that motion.
I will second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Sorry, been a long day. Item agenda 21, discussion and vote whether to approve the raises for bylaw employees as approved in omnibus budget for fiscal year 2024.
This is just solidifying all the raises that were
Yep.
included in the budget.
So
I entertain the motion to approve the raises by bylaw employees as approved in the omnibus budget for fiscal year 2024.
make that motion.
I will second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item agenda 22, discussion and vote whether to approve the associate members of the Freetown Historical Commission to be 3-year appointments rather than the 1-year appointment currently in place.
I have no problem with this.
No, Mary laid it out pretty carefully in her letter.
Yeah.
I don't see any
Makes
reason.
sense.
Yeah. I entertain motion to approve the associate members for Freetown Historical Commission to be 3-year appointments rather than the 1-year appointment currently in place.
I'll make that motion.
I will second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item agenda 23 is tabled for future discussion. Item agenda 24, discussion and vote whether to approve the gatekeeper pay rate effective 6/1/2023 to be $15 an hour.
What was it last year?
Number 15 is the minimum.
Okay, there we go. So it doesn't matter. Yep, works for me.
Yes, likewise. I entertain the motion to approve the gatekeeper pay rate effective 6/1/2023 to be $15 an hour.
I'll make that
I
motion.
will second it.
All in favor? Aye. 25, discussion and vote whether to approve the agreement between the town of Freetown and Luann Souza, effective 7/1/2023 through 6/30/2026.
Perfect.
Yep, I think we discussed this.
Yeah, we discussed it.
We discussed this, and that said, I entertain the motion to approve the agreement between the town of Freetown and Luann Souza effective 7/1/2023 through 6/30/2026.
Make that motion.
I will second it.
All in favor?
Aye. Congratulations, Luann.
Congrats, Luann. Item agenda 26, discussion and vote whether to approve the agreement between the town of Freetown and Deborah L. Petty effective 7/1/2023 through 6/30/2026 with amendments we discussed earlier.
Yes.
All right.
So I'll make that motion. Can I just do that? Yeah.
I will second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Number 27.
Congratulations, Debbie.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Official.
And yeah, and
Town administrator, non-interim.
We're dropping the interim.
That's right, everybody. No more interim. Official.
On the next agenda.
Yeah.
Item agenda 27, disband the Priority Development Committee effective 6/12/2023. And for those at home, this is really the Economic Committee that's taken on some of these roles, so no need for this one any longer.
Okay.
There's no vote, but to make it clean, I entertain motion to disband the Development Committee effective 6/12/2023.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
28, disband the Freetown Vocational Education Exploratory Committee, effective 6/12/2023. Again, everything is already on paper as far as moving forward with BP, so this is no longer required. I entertain the motion to disband the Freetown Vocational Educational Exploratory Committee, effective 6/12/2023.
I'll make that motion.
I will second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Thank you, Selectman Lopes. Now we will sign and then we will adjourn.
You had roll call.
Yeah. Totally completely forgot midway. Like, what do I say?
Oh, I'm saying in general, like that. Although
You have no idea. Honestly. I mean, you do have an idea, but I have just. I know I haven't.
This is just you, Vadar.
Yep.
This is also Vadar.
I knew this was going to be a long meeting.
I jinxed myself because I didn't think it would be.
It can go either way. Sometimes those meetings go quick.
This is all of us.
You know,
You for that one.
You get presentations, they just take photos.
Yeah. Might.
This is the Cameron donations. You mentioned too that vertical, the renewal for town hall is half price of what we're paying now.
Yeah.
I looked it up, I was like, right, because they
Wow.
got like a state contract or something, so this is the vertical. Yeah, one of these here.
I have to tell you guys that Luann worked extremely hard getting insurance credits. I think I mentioned it before. But she got like almost $5,000 in insurance credits. And talking to the representatives from Maya, other big towns didn't get nearly as many credits as we got. So it's a very specific effort.
One question you guys are all.
Yeah. Okay.
Should as far as new appointments go, does that get voted for as well, like those promotions, but new appointments for staffing? Do you guys vote on that as well as every meeting with the?
Well, actually, that was on our agenda today, but I think it got taken off. There must be some changes. So that will probably go on our next meeting and we'll vote on the appointments.
Is that monthly, weekly? How does that work?
Well, we can. As needed. As needed. We can have meetings wherever you want.
Is there anyone in particular that you're looking for?
No, just questions for
Okay.
people.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
that was the one I tabled. That was the one I would table. Yeah, there was a couple of edits we have to make.
Okay.
So we might as well. It's just a long list that we might as well just do it all at once versus reading out every one of them like I just did there. So
Okay.
It'll be the next agenda for sure.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
congrats.
Thank you.
Good game Sunday.
Yeah.
8-7.
Was it a young boy?
No, he got out first round. But everyone played well.
They're all Scotland.
So next year.
Yeah, selfishly, I'm asking for.
Absolutely. Yeah, first it was rained out on Friday.
They get that, it's not as big of a deal for rain gatherings.
Good. So this is
We can
May.
change that if you want to.
You know,
It's like $5. It's the same
Selectmen
thing.
used to get a badge. We don't get a badge anymore.
I can make you one.
Oh, a stamp.
It'll be great.
Signatures.
I'll like base it on Paw Patrol or something.
Paw Patrol, yay.
Like I'm not even joking. Literally, all like former selectmen all used to get a badge. Police
Oh, that's 'cause
badge.
you're,
And
like-
a bunch of old timers have called me like, "Where's your badge?"
Well,
Because
that's
you're a
what-
police commissioner.
Yeah, you're.
And they're like, "You got to get a badge."
Oh, wow, you better take care of that.
Put that on the agenda.
I think there was a reason why it was discontinued.
Might not want to discuss that.
That's funny.
Yeah, the police commissioner, so it kind of makes sense. We'll look into it.
People didn't want to get. I heard what I was told too is people just didn't want to give them back after they were
That's probably what
no
it is.
longer selected.
Could we sign up for details?
We could be a flagger. The next meeting is going to be fun.
We promise.
Okay, great.
Yeah, that's what the.
Oh, yeah.
The kids are gonna come.
Oh, you're not being sarcastic.
No,
it's
no.
actually going to be fun.
Oh,
That's,
it's gonna be a good time.
It's really not gonna be a lot of business, it's gonna be a lot of celebration.
that's awesome.
And just,
Like those meetings that every once in a while we get that are really awesome.
The ones we need every once in a while.
Yes.
Travers. Maybe it's for call firefighters. Oh, I'm forgetting, there's a little stack here for you, you might probably do it tomorrow. Favorites for gas plumbing.
I don't know my name right now.
I'll hold it.
Pretty gonna be a good addition to that committee.
Yeah. Fire alarm, employee raises. All right.
There's a heavy list.
Historical commission.
So we didn't do it on town meeting night, and then next week's are not gonna have.
And this is the pay rate for the teacher.
Sorry.
And that's just standing those two committees.
My hands on her.
It's tomorrow morning that hurts when I have to like sort it out and get it. Okay, we're good.
All right. So with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.